Welcome back, Tiger sports fans, to another episode of Tiger Sports Nation. I'm your host, Katie Moore.
And I'm Tessa Coker, and we are going to get you caught up on Tiger sports from this past week.
The DePauw Tigers football team continued to prove their dominance in Week 5's game against Ohio Wesleyan as the Tigers won 53-14. DePauw's offense was led by none other than quarterback Nathan McCahill. He completed 23 of 37 passes for 312 yards with 5 touchdowns. Robbie Ballantyne led DePauw in receiving yards with 119 and had 2 touchdowns. This is now the 10th game in a row that Ballantyne has caught at least 1 touchdown pass. Now for rushing yards, Caden Whitehead led the Tigers in that category with 52, and he collected 1 touchdown. Seth Mincer also rushed for 1 touchdown, and Alex Hoover, Leighton Lukowski, and Gabe Quigley all had a receiving touchdown each.
Switching sides to the defense, Christian Troop was a problem for the Ohio Wesleyan offense. He had not 1 but 2 interceptions in the game on Saturday. Nolan Tolley also had 1 interception. The Tigers were led in tackles by Jonathan Bruder and Ethan Lowry, who each had 6.
The win on Saturday moved the DePauw seniors' 4-year record to 33-6, breaking the program record of 32 that was set back in 2010. The victory over OWU was also the Tigers' 15th consecutive conference win, which equals the 10th longest active streak in all of Division III football. DePauw is now entering a bye week, but will return to play on October 19th at Denison. The game time is scheduled for 2 p.m.
The women's soccer team opened NCAC play on Saturday at home. They defeated Ohio Wesleyan 1-0. The difference-making goal came from Macy Happy in the second half. DePauw hosts Hiram next for another conference matchup this Saturday at 2:30 p.m.
The men's soccer team opened play last week with a road game shutout, beating Westminster College 3-0. Jack Pappas led the Tigers' offensive efforts with 2 goals, and Kai Miyashita also scored a goal, closing out the scoring for the Tigers. The men's team also opened NCAC play on Saturday. They played at Kenyon but fell 3-2. The Tigers will look to turn things around when they host rival school Wabash College on Wednesday at 7 p.m.
The women's volleyball team traveled to Mount St. Joseph on Wednesday to begin play for the week, but fell 3-0. They quickly got back into the groove of things on Saturday when they beat Worcester 3-0 at home. Olivia Carwin paced DePauw with 16 assists. Caden Harrington led with 9 kills, and Grace Myers headed the defense efforts with 16 digs. The Tigers will be back in action on Saturday when they travel to play Hiram at 1 p.m.
The women's field hockey team remains undefeated in NCAC play. They beat Kenyon at home on Saturday 3-2. Alexandra May scored 2 goals in the victory, and Haley Nowak scored 1. The Tigers will look to extend their NCAC win streak to 5-0 when they host Allegheny this Saturday at noon.
The men's and women's cross-country teams ran in the Division III pre-nationals meet on Friday at Terre Haute. The women's team had a standout performance, placing 3rd out of 44 teams. Sophie Porter led the way for the Tigers with her 10th place finish and clocked a 6K time of 21:53:02. The men's team placed 26th out of 46 teams and were led by Jacob Kisling's 8K time of 26:16:42.
The women's and men's swim team opened up their season on Thursday at home against Rose-Hulman. The women's team topped the Fighting Engineers 170-81, and DePauw's men's team fell 152-120. Both teams will be back in action on October 19th at the Division III Invitational in Terre Haute at 1 p.m.
And that's it for Tiger Sports this week. Now it's time for Hot Topic, where we talk about something from the Tiger sports world or the greater sports world that we just can't stop thinking about. Katie?
Well, to highlight what you said about the cross-country teams, I cannot stop thinking about the women's cross-country team. So this year, the cross-country national meet is hosted in Terre Haute, which is, only about an hour down the road from us, which is pretty exciting. The women's team went to nationals last year and are looking to return there again. Going into Saturday, DePauw was ranked 17th. And not every school that's going to go to nationals is at this pre-national meet because it's really too early to tell. But it was a really, really big meet, and a lot of our girls showed out. They actually beat Wash U, and Wash U is the reigning outdoor track and field championship team. Wash U going into Friday night was ranked 10th. DePauw was ranked 17th, and DePauw really upset Wash U, getting third at this meet. Sophie Porter placing 10th, and in the top 10, she placed 10th on Friday, is exceptional. I'm not surprised, but it's amazing with 44 teams being there. She's on a roll, and we saw a lot of other Tigers have a lot of really great standout performances, but I'm super, super excited for the women's cross country team. So,
Me
yeah.
too, as always. I would love to switch gears to college football. This weekend we saw a huge upset with Vanderbilt beating Alabama, which I just think is absolutely crazy. This is the first time since 1983, I'd like to say, since that Vanderbilt has beat Alabama, which is over 40 years ago.
It's
you don't see that very often. Yeah, and then number 1 Alabama is now ranked number 7 in the AP performance polls. So that's something, and that's interesting, especially with looking at like how the conference looks now in the rankings. It's definitely shaken some things up. So we're gonna keep an eye on that in the future.
Yeah, for sure. It was huge. I know I was even watching videos after the win where Vanderbilt students took the field goal posts from the field and were walking them down the streets of Nashville. It was, and I even saw a video where like the security literally just stepped back and was just watching it happen, because at that point, I don't think you're stopping those kids from Vanderbilt after a win like that. And so that's pretty impressive. I'm sure the atmosphere was just unbelievable. And that'll do it for this episode of Tiger Sports Nation. Once again, I'm Katie Moore.
And I'm Tessa Kokert, and as always,
Roll Tigs!